What's going on, guys? It's been a while. It's been a pretty long time since I did my last video, but I really wanted to talk about this because I've, as you guys may have known or may not have, I've taken like a big social media break, and I kind of like disappeared for a little bit, haven't posted anything, didn't spend too much time scrolling, or tried not to scroll, and whether it be on Instagram or Facebook. And I decided to come back mainly because I felt refreshed, and I felt like I had a clear mindset on why I did it, and also my path moving forward. And so the big topic of this video is basically just trying to explain why I decided to stop my podcast and photography business, put them on hold, and kind of explain why I came to that, and the reasons why I thought it was kind of deteriorating me to continue those endeavors on my part. And it's all in hope to maybe help you out. Maybe you're trying to start something, or maybe you're going through something. But basically, if you guys have talked to me in the past year or 2 years, you guys would probably know that I'm all about personal development. Anytime I catch up with a friend, an old friend or a good friend or family or what have you, I'm always kind of talking about personal development, trying to better myself in order to better the people around me, and that whole vibe. And so what kind of hit me is I love listening to podcasts. Funny. It's actually funny. I used to hate podcasts, and shout out to Scott. Because of him and a really awesome road trip, I started to fall in love with podcasts. But I follow 3 people in particular that are very influential in kind of how I like to live my life and my mindset. And those 3 people are Jay Shetty, Lewis Howes, and Gary Vaynerchuk. And those 3 names are pretty popular. They're all pretty big, especially in the either entrepreneurship or personal development podcasting world. And so I like listening to their content. And something kind of came up in my time of leave of silence, if you will, and it kind of hit me. And it was the concept of trapping myself, and the fact that humans, as humans, we just have a tendency to fall into routine, fall into our minds, and kind of get lost in our thoughts. And the big thing, I think Gary Vaynerchuk kind of pointed out, and I think Jay Shetty kind of went over a video real quick about his thoughts on it. And I'll try to link those in the description if I can find the links to those videos. But basically it was saying how we find ourselves in our own jails that we create for ourselves. And I didn't realize that until I heard it, and it's basically exactly how I felt. In sophomore year of college, or sophomore or junior year of college, I forget at this point, that's bad. I started a podcast, or dang it, dude. Around sophomore or junior year of college, I started a photography business, and that was mainly at first just to put out my work to the world, to show everyone what I was doing. This is something I'm passionate about. This is something I love. I love turning imagination into reality. I like doing composite photography, making people look really cool and epic to get that, new Facebook profile picture, or like a new headshot for their LinkedIn, stuff like that. And I really enjoyed that, so I put that out to the world. And as the years went on, I started making a little bit of money. Granted, it was all like not profit. Like I was in the hole for like 3 or 4 years, and I think I just turned a profit around this past year. And just when that's happening, I'm kind of putting it on hold. I don't know. And it's not really about the money. It was just like, I love doing this thing. I can share it with others. And if people will pay me, that's great. But basically, I labeled myself as a photographer. In college, people knew me as the singer and the photographer. I feel like those are the 2 main things. And so, I lived up to that, or attempted to, and tried to do photography, and did photography post-graduation and all that jazz. And then when I started my volunteer work in the fall right after graduating in 2017, I volunteered, and the students, I love the students, the faculty, the staff that I was able to work with, and I decided to start a podcast in order to reach people all over the world for very low cost, because all I needed was to buy this microphone right here, and I already had a laptop, and that's basically all you needed. And so I started podcasting, and I released that to the world, and that was received very, very well. And I really appreciate everyone that's supported me and really rooted for me. I couldn't have gotten as far as I got. I think I reached up to like 6 to 10,000 people. I forget exactly where the exact number is, but I know it's more than 6 and I know it's less than 10. So somewhere around that range and I was able to reach them from all over the world. Like I had listeners in Germany and Australia and India and just all over the place, which is such a crazy concept to think about. But basically, I labeled myself as a podcaster at that point. And so now right now I'm 24, and up until now I've been an engineer, and on the side I label myself as a podcaster or a photographer. And so when I talk to my friends or my family, they're always asking about those things because those are very public hobbies that I guess I put out there, right? And so that's on me. And anytime I reconnected with someone, they would always ask, oh, how's the photography doing? How's the podcast doing? And as the months went on, where I was just kind of like not producing any content on either of those fronts, I felt obligated to say that, oh, yeah, I'm a photographer. I work on that a little bit here and there, and you know, I'm working on some projects, little things here and there, nothing too much. And it was this innate thing within me that it was an immediate response. Like I felt like I had to not necessarily defend myself, but I had to like explain to them why I was in this situation or where I was at. And after hearing Gary Vaynerchuk saying that, like, you basically build a jail for yourself. We fall into that mindset of, oh, you're a podcaster? All right, that means you got to do all these podcasting things, and that's all you're doing. You got to keep doing that regardless of what's happening. You got to grind it out. You got to, you know, sacrifice and be the best podcaster you can be. And I felt trapped in regards to podcasting and photography. And even though I wanted to do other things, I felt obligated. I was like, oh, you know what? No, I have to do some photography. And it's not like I don't love those things. I do love those things, but it just felt more like a obligation and like a chore rather than me just loving it and trying to share it with the world. And so I lost my love for the the passions that I was pursuing. And it was weird because I had like 4 new guests lined up on the interview for the podcast, and I had it all scheduled out, and this was like late 2019, and I just decided, like, I reached back out and I was like, hey, I'm sorry, but I'm just not in the right mindset to really do these interviews and really produce this and share your story. And I felt like it would have been a fault on my part to continue on with that. And so the whole concept of this video is mainly just to share kind of what's going through my life and kind of what's going through my head in regards to trapping yourselves. I think I've trapped myself to be a podcaster and a photographer in ways that sometimes that's maybe the healthy way in order for you to like really pursue that and really be the best that you can be. But I found myself losing part of myself and losing part of the love I had for these things. So now I'm coming back to interviews and photography, but in just like a whole new light. It's not anything special. It's just something that I like to do for myself, and maybe one day I'll try to bring it back in the same caliber that I have been producing. But it's just it's a slippery slope, and I really had to reevaluate what I saw for myself. And it's not that I don't want to be successful in photography or I don't want to be successful in podcasting. Obviously, I would love to succeed in both of those hobbies or pursuits or business endeavors or whatever you want to call it. Obviously, I want to succeed in those. But when it comes to feeling trapped, that's just not a healthy thing, you know? And I kind of had to take some pride off and, you know, split up with my pride and say, you know what? You know, maybe some people think I failed. Maybe some people think I succeeded. I know what happened. I know this is what I'm feeling. And when people come up to me and they ask like, oh, how's the photography? How's the podcast? And, you know, I reluctantly say that I'm not really doing those things anymore. You know, there's always questions that come up with that, like why or how come? And Gary Vaynerchuk and Jay Shetty, I think they both said this. I don't quote me, but their simple response is, I changed my mind. And it's crazy how overcomplicated I used to make things in my own head. Like I felt, like I said, I had to defend myself. Oh, you know, I was working on it, but then this came up, and then You know, I haven't put too much time into it. I haven't getting enough sleep. I'm working too hard. Like, I always had to come up with some sort of excuse to justify why I wasn't pursuing those as hard as I used to. But in reality, like, that's all in my head. Like, the person I'm talking to doesn't necessarily care if I'm doing it or not. They're just interested in hearing what I have been doing. And if I'm completely honest and transparent, I'll just say, like, oh, I changed my mind and it's not really what I'm putting my time or focus into at the moment. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's so funny because my catchphrase, as a lot of people know, is stay safe, stay you. And the idea behind that was just stay safe. Obviously, like, there's someone that cares about you. Your health is super important. Your life is valuable. Always be safe, and, you know, adjust your risk and your the amount of risk that you'll take based on who you are. You know, don't do anything you're uncomfortable with, all that. And then the stay you part is not to stay the same person. Like, you shouldn't stay the same person. I think everyone should continuously be growing. If I'm the same person I am right now than I was last year, I think I failed on my part, right? So the idea of stay you, that portion is just to understand the concept of who you are, knowing that you're forever changing and growing, and just stay true to your beliefs, your heart, and you know, what you believe in and what you're hoping to strive for. And so that's the idea behind that, right? But I didn't take that myself. I was being, I wouldn't say fake, but I was putting on a front, and I was trying to say, like, oh, I'm a podcast photographer, but in reality, I'm not really working on those things. But when someone asks about it, I have to make up excuses and produce this facade that I am still working crazy hard on it, which I was, but it's not, I don't know. Like, I put that judgment on myself. I created this fake scenario in my head, and I created this fake judgment of who I was and who I thought I had to be. But in reality, it's something that I do, and I enjoy doing it, and I like sharing it with the world. And if I'm not doing that, you know, what have you, I changed my mind. And so now, like, I recently posted that I was doing streaming, and I was streaming video games, and that's what this whole setup is for. But it's not like I still don't do photography or anything like that. Like, I'm really pumped. I'm gonna do some cool. I'm gonna show you something that's a little scary, but I'm gonna do like a photo shoot with one of these masks. It's like the Purge mask. I have this one is actually pretty hype. Okay. But I recently just purchased one of these, which is like one of those crystal photography balls, which I'm like super pumped to start doing photos about. So you can see you get cool effects with this, and I'm really hoping to do some damage with this guy and produce some really cool pictures. And, you know, they're just things that I like doing, and maybe I'll interview here and there just for fun. But I think my goals right now are just to do anything that kind of comes to mind. I love video games, I love photography, I love podcasting, I love hiking, and, you know, a bunch of other stuff. So why not do everything I love and try to lessen the amount of judgment that I think people have. In reality, like, I don't see a lot of people, I don't catch up with people that often, and, you know, I'll meet up with my good friends a couple times a year or so. But in reality, like, you know, social media makes it seem like people are so much closer than they actually are. And, you know, I'm just living my life, doing my thing, and I think you should too. So I hope if anyone's doing a hobby or struggling with something, just kind of take a step back and really think about, is this a true judgment? Is this true facts of what I'm spewing into my own mind? Or am I just trapping myself in this jail cell of feeling obligated to pursue certain things just because I said it, right? And, you know, when you say words, you can't take it back, right? And that's always true. But that doesn't mean that has to be your truth. If I say I'm a photographer, yeah, I can't take that back. I view myself as a photographer, but that doesn't define who I am. And it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change my mind and pursue something else. And, you know, I don't know. I just felt that I had a few friends that were kind of struggling with similar situations. So if this resonated with you, I'm super pumped about it. I'd love to hear your story if you like comment or whatever. But I don't know. I have a really good feeling about 2020, and it's going to be my year, and I hope it's your year too. And I don't know. This is all like super raw, uncut. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, you guys resonate with this, and I'm gonna try to produce more video content too. Mainly in the sense of, I'm really excited to talk about this book in the future. My mom got it for me. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Shout out to mom. Thanks, mom. Had some really good stuff, so I'm gonna work on some sharing some lessons I've gotten from that, and all in hopes to help you on what you're going through, because I feel like the 20s are a weird time. It feels like a weird time to me. So hopefully we can all go through this weird time together, if you are in your 20s, and if you're not, I'd love to hear your take on what I've said. But yeah, free yourselves from the jails that you put on yourself, or bar yourself into, because they don't exist, and they only exist in your mind because you came up with them. Like, you don't need them. You literally have the key. You could literally like put your hand through the jail cell, put the key in, open the lock, and then get out, because that's literally all it is. So yeah, I hope this helped, and again, let me know what your thoughts are, and yeah, all the love. As always, stay safe, stay you. Have a good one, guys. All right. Oh wait. Yeah. Oh, coming back.